All right, everybody. Welcome back to Old Line State Politics. It's me, your host, Jason Craig, and we're back with another live stream. So, for everybody watching, welcome. Tonight is the Iowa Caucus. We are here for 2024. The Republican Iowa Caucus is tonight. I believe polls close at 8:30, and we should start seeing results around that time. So we will see. I will be on Conservative American Predictions live stream tonight at 8:30. So if you want to see me there, go ahead and watch this stream tonight at 8:30. But we're going to do a stream tonight. We're going to talk about the Iowa caucus, and we're going to discuss many races in 2024. So give me a minute while I pull up some maps, and we'll go from there. So stay tuned. All right, everybody. So we're going to pull up this screen here. This is Yapamas. And we're going to show the map here of the Iowa caucus here. So we have, let's see here. Let's get rid of some of these here. All right, now we have it. Okay. So the main candidates tonight are the four here that we see, or the five here, but the main four are Donald Trump, Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis, and Vivek Ramaswamy. So we're going to go through. So the polling aggregate right now has an average, real clear politics average, has Donald Trump around anywhere from 48 to 55%. And if you average that out, we're probably going to be somewhere between 52% for Donald Trump. Now, between the real thing tonight is we're looking at between Donald Trump, not Donald Trump, excuse me. We're looking at second place candidates, Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis. So looking at those two right now, they're trying to play second place, or they're actually, everyone's trying to win, but more importantly, we're looking at the second place people. Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis are most likely getting a second place. We have Asa Hutchinson, Vivek Ramaswamy, and also Ryan Blinky, who I do not have on here right now. But so if we look at Iowa, all right, let's see if we can get this. So we look at Iowa here. If we just put Donald Trump, okay, and we place him at, say, 52.5%, okay, 21 delegates, okay, and we give, let's say, this is my final prediction, by the way, Ron DeSantis, give him 10, give Nikki Haley around 10, and that still leaves, well, actually, we'll give Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis will probably get 20, Nikki Haley 20, and then Vivek. Vivek will, I think Nikki Haley will probably get around 20%. 8 delegates. Ron DeSantis 7, Vivek 4. If I had to guess, this is just what we're looking at tonight. Asa Hutchinson, he's kind of racking up a little bit in the polling aggregate. He's around like 3% right now nationwide. So in Iowa, he might be able to scratch off maybe one delegate. We could maybe take one from DeSantis or Haley, maybe even Vivek, and we could give him, we could give both of them 2 or give Asa 1, Vivek's 3. So I mean, it could get close between the two. Asa Hudson could get 1 delegate, but as of right now, I'm not going to give him any. I think it's between these 4. I do think Vivek will get 4. Trump will win 21 delegates, 52.5%. Nikki Haley's 20%. Ron DeSantis 17.5% to Vivek's 10%. So we look at that right now. Donald Trump ends up winning the Iowa caucus. Not really a surprise there. I mean, Iowa, it's Trump. He's nationwide. He's leading by about 45, 50 percentage points against the second place candidate, either Ron DeSantis or Nikki Haley. They're both neck and neck for second place. So it's not unheard of. It wouldn't be unheard of, and I wouldn't be surprised if Trump wound up winning by that margin. And quite honestly, he could even win by larger margins. But quite frankly, I don't really think so. I mean, he could win a stretch. I would say the most I would be able to give him would be 55%. I would say, but I really don't think that it'll really come up to that. I mean, it very much could. Tonight's going to be interesting. But as of right now, I do see Donald Trump winning with 52.5%. Now, things could get interesting. Nikki Haley or Ron DeSantis could run up the margin just a little bit, and we could see something where Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis both, do outperform their expectations. So it could be quite interesting here. You never know. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens tonight. I'm curious. I can't wait to see the early primary results. And this is really about what's going to happen this year. 2024 is really kicked off. I know we said this, back in after the new year, but tonight we're really kicking off 2024 with another primary, another Iowa, or another caucus, I should say, in Iowa. So stay tuned for that tonight. Go ahead. I'm not going to be streaming. Go ahead and watch me, and Conservative American Predictions on his channel, and you guys can go check that out. If you're not already subscribed, go subscribe over to him. So I'm going to pull up my 2024 prediction, and we're going to go for the presidency and look at 2024, the House and the Senate. So everyone who's watching, stay tuned. We're going to look at the comments here tonight and see all the viewers. So hello to everyone watching. If you didn't join immediately when we started, I just went ahead and did my 2024 or my Iowa caucus prediction for tonight. So we have Trump at 52%, Nikki Haley's 20%, Ron DeSantis 17%, and Vivek's 10%. So that averaged around 21 delegates for Donald Trump, a little bit over 50%. So hello from, I don't know how to pronounce that, but from Spain. Thank you. Great contact. I apologize. But thank you for watching. I appreciate it. So yeah, we're going to pull up 2024 presidential map, and we're going to go through my latest presidential map between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. So give me a minute here while I pull this up. 2024 is going to be interesting, guys. I've said this before, but it definitely is going to be interesting. I can't wait to get farther in to the year, and I'm running a campaign. I'm a campaign manager, campaign spokesman for Dave Wallace, who's running for Congress in Maryland's 2nd Congressional District, and I can tell you from the candidacy standpoint, it is definitely tough. It's definitely going to be challenging. So we can't wait. So yeah, we're going to start off with our 2024 presidential map here. So here we go. So we're going to categorize safe states for Donald Trump. We got Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska at large 1st and 3rd districts, South Dakota, North Dakota, Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, Utah. We also have Alaska, Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri. We're going to put Iowa in this category. Iowa, yes. Mississippi, Alabama, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, Indiana, and we're going to put into tonight Ohio. Yes, Ohio, I will predict and project that it will be over 10 percentage points for Donald Trump. 10-point margin, over 10-point margin for Donald Trump over Joe Biden. So moving on, we can do Joe Biden's safe states: Washington, California, Hawaii, the District of Columbia, Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, Connecticut, Vermont, New York, Maine's 1st Congressional District, Massachusetts, Rhode Island. We have Illinois, Colorado, and I believe that is all. So moving on to the likely states for Joe Biden, we can put Oregon in here. I think it'll be around, I'm going to say a 9.8 to 9.9% margin. It's going to be very close, just shy of 10 points for Joe Biden, especially we see third-party candidates. Especially we see third-party candidates in 2024 like RFK Jr., Cornel West, and other candidates. Other candidates for libertarian parties, but we have a lot of third parties running no labels. We have RFK Jr.'s independents. We have the Green Party. We have a lot of parties or third parties are running candidates out for 2024. So it's going to be very, very interesting. So moving on, we're going to look at Donald Trump's likely margin, likely states. Actually, I'm sorry. We can put in New Hampshire and Minnesota into the likely column. New Hampshire around 5.6%, 5.5%. New Hampshire, we're going to put around, I'm going to say 6.5% for Joe Biden. Republicans, Donald Trump, state of Texas, likely margin. It's going to be over 5. We saw it come very close in 2020, under 5%, but Donald Trump's going to win it by a higher margin. It's going to be around 7 points, 7.5 points for Donald Trump. Not as much as his win in 2016, but it is going to be better than 2020. He's going to outperform a little bit in the state of Texas. State of Florida, a state that has shifted farther to the right every single year. Ron DeSantis won 2 years ago now, but last election cycle, 2022, with 20% of the vote, 19% of the vote. So a landslide against Charlie Crist, a Democrat. And once again, Republicans are changing the state of Florida from a toss-up to a Republican state. So moving on to Joe Biden, or to the lean states, we're going to start with Joe Biden's lean states. We can put one district I forgot to do is Maine at large is likely margin, but for the lean states, we have Nebraska at large. We have Arizona with around a 1.2% margin. New Mexico will also be likely. I forgot to categorize as well. Virginia, we could also put likely. I don't know what I'm thinking tonight, but that is also a likely state. Excuse me. Lean states for Joe Biden now, we can actually see the state of Michigan. I will say that Michigan most likely will go to Joe Biden by a lean margin. I'm going to say probably 1.2 to 1.5 percentage points. It's going to drop down from 2.8 or 3% from 2020. Donald Trump's going to do a little bit better, but the Republican Party in the state of Michigan is really not that great. They're kind of in shambles, and they're really just scattering around trying to figure out what to do. It's quite sad to see the Republican Party in the state of Michigan in the shape they are, but, it is what it is. Donald Trump, it's just out of reach for Joe Biden or Donald Trump at the moment. Under right circumstances, Donald Trump can pick it off, but at the moment, as of January of 2024, I cannot see it possible at the moment. So moving on, I do believe that is all for the lean states for Joe Biden. So Donald Trump's lean states, we can put in the Maine at large as a lean margin. I'm gonna say this is probably around 4.5, maybe 5%. We actually probably could put this as a likely margin. It probably closer to 5.5%, if I'm being honest with you all tonight. So the lean states, we're gonna see North Carolina go for Donald Trump again as a lean margin, not as high as what we saw in 2020. Donald Trump only won this state by 1.3 in 2020, 3.7% in 2016, and I think we're going to be closer to the 3.7% margin in 2024. I'm going to say probably around 2.5% to 2.7%, maybe 3 if we see a good night for Donald Trump, but nonetheless, Donald Trump will keep this in his belt in the Republican column. The next state we're going to talk about is the state of Georgia, and that is a lean margin for Donald Trump and the Republican candidates. We see this state trending. We saw it trend to the left in 2020, and by very freak election cycle, Joe Biden was able to pick that state off. Deep red Georgia had been shifting to the left and left. farther and farther every single year. But we are in a new type of cycle right now, 2024, and we're with third party candidates. I can see them taking more votes from Joe Biden than they are going to be from Donald Trump. So I'm going to put this and categorize this state with a 1.2% margin for Donald Trump in the state of Georgia. Now, moving on, that is all we have for our lean states for both candidates. Let's go ahead and categorize these last 35 electoral votes for these candidates. We have 3 states left, all comprised of 35 electoral votes, and they will decide the 2022 election. As you can see, between both Donald Trump and Joe Biden, they both have within 1 electoral vote from each other. So we're going to start with Joe Biden's lean state or tilt states. And actually, no, we're just going to do this. How I think these states are going to go, as we're going to see, I think we're going to see this. Pennsylvania, tilt for Donald Trump. Wisconsin, tilt for Donald Trump. Nevada, tilt for Donald Trump. Now, one of the states I could see maybe saying it would be more likely for this to happen, a more likely scenario might be, you could argue the point of Nevada going for Joe Biden by a tilt margin. But at the moment, January 15th, 2024, I think that Donald Trump will pick off the states of Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Nevada. Margins for all of these states: Pennsylvania, 0.5%, Wisconsin, 0.7%, Nevada, 0.25%. All of these states within the margin of error, states that really can decide the election and can go either way under different circumstances or the right circumstances at that. As we speak, would be Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada. All of those states I could see going either way, depending on the circumstances that we see given the climate of 2024. But as we sit today, as this map sits today, I do see Donald Trump winning the presidency with 286 electoral votes to Joe Biden's 252, flipping this race and becoming the second president in American history to serve 2 non-consecutive terms. So now, with that being said, we're going to check the comments here, and then we're going to pull up our Senate map for 2024 and then the House. I'd like to be off of here shortly so we can jump over to Conservative American Predictions stream shortly. So, hello, how's it going? I'm going very well. 2024 is here. Welcome. Who do you think will be VP? If we're talking about Donald Trump, which I assume you are, and Donald Trump's pick, I've narrowed it down to a few candidates here. We have Kristi Noem, the governor of South Dakota. We have Dr. Ben Carson, political analyst Tucker Carlson, and the last probable person would probably be former presidential candidate Tim Scott. Out of those 4, I think the most likely at the moment would be Kristi Noem and Ben Carson. I could see both of those candidates being both of those individuals being possible vice presidential candidates for Donald Trump in 2024. Now, he said in a town hall the other night on Fox News that he already has his VP pick already. He knows his VP pick. So it's just a matter of time until, if he wins the convention, if he wins the nomination and we go to the convention, and when he announces his candidacy or his pick for president, pick for vice president. We could see that. It could be very likely for Kristi Noem or Ben Carson to be, but I'm sure there's other possibilities, other people that we might not be seeing. So, Ramaswamy, no. The reason why I don't think you could have argued this 3-4 weeks ago, a month ago, and I probably would say it's very possible. But after what I saw the other day with Trump attacking Ramaswamy, saying he's not MAGA, he's not Trumpy, he just was attacking him, and that's the first time I had ever seen Trump attacking Vivek Ramaswamy. So actually, at the moment, I really think it's more unlikely that Ramaswamy is not picked as VP. He probably could be a cabinet member, something later on, if in the administration, the Trump administration, if he gets a second term. But I do not think that Vivek will be picked as a vice presidential nominee. Pull up our Senate map here, and we will go from there. You guys can ask any more questions while I get this pulled up, and I'll answer them before we start doing our Senate prediction here. So, alrighty, guys. No problem, no problem. Always willing to take questions and would be happy to answer them. Alrighty, guys. So this is our 2024 Senate map. We have 38 Republican seats up to the Democrats' 28 incumbent Democrats. But this is very interesting playing ground. We have 3 independent candidates, and we're actually going to add the independents. All right. We're going to add the independents. All right. So in the state of, we're going to start with the independent candidates. We have Vermont, okay, which is going to be a safe margin for Bernie Sanders, and Angus King in Maine. So we're gonna those are 2 independents to caucus with the Republicans, and that makes up our majority. Without those 2, actually we have 3. There's one in, there is one Kristen Sinema in Arizona, but with them, the margin for the Democrats, they caucus with the Democrats, they vote with the Democrats, but they're technically independent candidates. They are not affiliated. They don't run or file with the Democratic Party. But in the Senate, they vote with the Democrats 90 to 100% of the time. So we look at we have 3 independents: Kristen Sinema, Angus King, and Bernie Sanders. Now, Kristen Sinema actually switched to an independent in the state of Arizona, and it's a very important race that the Republicans might need to pick. We're going to try to pick off in 2024. We have Kari Lake and Mark Lamb are the 2 main candidates who are running in the Republican primary. If you wonder who I'm supporting in that race, it's actually Mark Lamb. I'm supporting Mark Lamb in that primary. I think he's just a better choice. I think he's more electable. I think he's a little bit better on the issues. Now, do I like Kari Lake? I do, but quite frankly, I think she's made some bad choices with candidate endorsings and stuff like that, along with Trump. In Arizona's 8th congressional district for the Republican primary, I'm supporting Blake Masters. I always have supported Blake Masters, and I'm going to stand by. I'm going to stand by that from 2022. I don't think that it's good to be attacking Blake Masters. He's a great and great policies, great his great policies, and I just think he'll do a whole lot better in Congressional District 8 in Arizona's 8th congressional district. So, moving on, we're going to go through Republican safe states. We have Nebraska, North Dakota, Wyoming, Missouri. So Missouri, that is Josh Hawley. He won back in 2018. He flipped it from Claire McCaskill. She was the Democrat incumbent at the time, and he flipped that seat, and he did a great job. He's done a great job in the state Senate, or not the state Senate, the federal Senate, and he's just a phenomenal senator. And he'll probably win re-election by over 10. I can't wait to see him go back for another 6 years. So Tennessee, Mississippi. We actually can add. We have Indiana, but we actually can add a state that wasn't a. This is actually a Democrat incumbent who's retiring in the state of West Virginia. It's quite interesting because Donald Trump won this state in 2016 and in 2020, both times by over 30 points in the state of West Virginia, and they reelected their incumbent Democrat senator Joe Manchin in 2018 by I think around 3.5 to 4 points, in deep red West Virginia. So it's very interesting. But Joe Manchin is retiring, so we can see this an easy Republican flick because there is no strong Democrat in the state. Really, there isn't really any Democrat who has good name recognition. And the two candidates running in the Democrat or the Republican side, Alex Mooney and Jim Justice. There, Alex Mooney is a congressman from West Virginia's 2nd Congressional District, which borders Maryland, there, Western Maryland area, as you can see, Virginia and Pennsylvania. And then we have the governor of West Virginia, Jim Justice, who's also running for that seat. Jim Justice will most likely get the nomination, win that primary, just because of the polling, strong polling, and the name recognition across the state. I'm supporting Jim Justice for the race. I think he's a better candidate than Alex Mooney, but both are great guys. Now, moving on, we can see the Democrats. Now, actually, before I categorize Democrats, we can see Republicans actually only need three more states to win the Senate if they have a vice presidential tiebreaker. If the Republicans win the White House, and the vice president would be the tiebreaker. So the Democrat states, we have Washington, California. That's interesting. We have two Democrats running, but the Democrats will probably win. Actually, it might be a likely margin between because they're both Democrats, likely for the Democrat. Hawaii, we have Delaware, New Jersey, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, New York. Minnesota, we're gonna see. We're going to see Amy Klobuchar. She'll probably win by over 10 again. She's just insanely popular in the state. I think she's won all of her elections by a safe margin dating all the way back to 2006, which is quite interesting. And then we have, I think that's actually all for the safe states for both parties. So moving on to likely states, we have the state of Florida for likely Republican. This is Rick Scott. He's the incumbent. He won back in 2018 against former incumbent Democrat Senator Bill Nelson and flipped the state very, very narrowly in a overwhelmingly Democrat environment into 2018 and pulled a victory off. And that helped the Republicans hold control of the Senate in the United States. So moving on, for more likely states, we have the states. The state of Texas. We have this is not a surprise, but we have Ted Cruz running for re-election and Colin Allred, who is the main Democrat candidate running. He really isn't that great of a candidate. It's not going to be Beto O'Rourke in like 2018 environment. It's 2024 presidential year with Trump on the ballot. Independent candidates running. Republicans are going to do very well in these Republican states. Turnout's going to be high, especially in Florida and Texas and all the other safe Republican states. And it's going to down ballot. It's going to help Republicans. So Ted Cruz will win his re-election. I'm going to say with over 5 points, probably more closer to 5.5, 5.6%. So yes. Now moving on, we're going to go to Democrat likely states. I did forget to categorize Utah as safe Republican. So there you go. Sitting right now with this margin, Republicans with winning Florida and Texas, they win 50 seats. And with the vice president, with the vice presidential tie-breaking vote, that is enough to win control of the Senate. So if we keep going, we have lean states. So we're going to add our likely states for the Democrats. We have Virginia. I think that Tim Kaine will probably win re-election. The Republican candidate who's running, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he is a decently strong candidate, and he'll do a whole lot better than we saw in 2020, or we saw Tim Kaine's last election. But it's just not gonna in 2018. It's probably not. It's not gonna be a safe margin, but he'll run up the margins. Now in Maryland, I know we went through this in 2022 with my terrible predictions, but this time I'm being for real. We have actually a very interesting situation going on in Maryland, and it's actually one of the most underrated races being talked about in the 2024 election cycle. And I really think that it deserves a whole lot more media attention. We have an open seat. Ben Cardin a senator who's been in since 2007, is retiring. We have multiple other congressional race seats up, Democrat incumbents retiring. We have a very, very well-known, strong Republican candidate, mainly moderate Republican candidate running in the Republican primary, who's most likely going to win the primary. His name is John Teichert, and he is a former military brigade, a Air Force general, a Republican candidate. He is very, very good electorally. He's got a very good team running his campaign team. I'm actually very close friends with his campaign manager. Known him for a little while, and so yeah, it's a very underrated race. A race that's not talked about. I don't see anything really on the news being talking about this race. It's very important. Democrats are really going to have to play hard in the state with David Schroen, who's most likely going to win the Democratic primary. But I really think this race needs a lot more attention. I know it's Maryland, but it's really a good opportunity for Republicans, given the state's environment. Given Republicans are in a presidential year, down ballot Republicans will do very well, even in deep blue states. But this guy, John Teichert, in this race it needs to be talked about a lot more, and I think that he's going to do fairly decent in the state. It's going to be a likely margin for Republicans. It could even come down to a lean if it's a good cycle. It's going to be Democrat hold, I'm going to guess. John Teichert, he believes he can win. I've met him multiple times. He's a phenomenal guy. He's got a great team and a great base following him. I'm supporting him, but he is he really has a lot going for him with veterans, with military, with just moderate and suburban vote. He's really got it going for him. So hopefully we can see him in the Senate, but it's somewhat unlikely, but I'm always open to hearing different opinions. So also we have the state of Pennsylvania with incumbent Bob Casey is going to go against Dave McCormick, another moderate candidate, but Bob Casey is just too strong of a candidate. So moving on, we do have the state of Wisconsin. I do actually think that Tammy Baldwin will win re-election by a likely margin, just given the circumstances and the candidates running. New Mexico, don't know a whole lot about this race, but I do think that the Republican or the Democrats will win in New Mexico. Moving on to the lean states for Republicans, we can add Ohio. Bernie Moreno, he's going to win the primary. He's going to go against the general, against Sherrod Brown, and probably going to flip the state and probably going to win this. And it's going to be pretty good for the Republicans. I'm going to guess around, if I had to, a margin of probably 1.2 to 2% in the state of Ohio. So let's look at the comments here right now. What do you think about Trump ballot changes? So I actually think that it's pretty pathetic. I think it's pretty I think it's really a weaponized DOJ. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's civil, and I really think that these people need to be handled with. They need to be they really need to be put in their place, and I don't think it's okay what they're doing. Rust Belt, hello, welcome. Yes, all of them will. Birdbrain and Ron Sanctimonious will get destroyed tonight, in my opinion. I think it'll be quite interesting. Democrat lead states, Michigan. We'll see, and I think that's actually all for the Democrats. Lean, another lean one. Montana. I think Tim Sheehy will probably win the nomination if no one else enters. Matt Rosendale has been floating around it, but he hasn't actually filed. So I believe he probably won't. If he does, it's going to get interesting. But at the moment, I think Tim Sheehy, he's most likely going to win, and then go against John Tester and most likely flip the state. And then we look at Nevada and Arizona. I think that Democrats will probably hold on to Nevada, and then whoever the Republican candidate might be. If it's Mark Lamb, I think he wins by might be able to win by a lean. If it's Carrie Lake, she wins by a tilt. So that's my map right now. 53 are for Republicans, 2 independents, and Democrats have 45. If you put them together, if the independents caucus with the Democrats, 47 Democrats, 53 Republicans. And that's my map right now. Changes can happen. A whole lot of changes can happen from now and election day. But at the moment, as January 15th, 2024, this is where my map sits. So, yeah, I'm kind of getting tired of talking here. So we're going to do this house map real quick, and we're going to call it a night. You can save my voice for the stream later tonight with conservative American predictions. So we're going to pull the house map up right now. Yeah, so the majority, the House majority for Republicans is actually really bad right now. We really do not have a very big majority. I think we have a 1-seat majority right now. It's looking pretty bad. Looking pretty bad for Republicans in the House right now, at least. I'm not liking the situation we've got going on right now. So, all right, guys, let's pull this map up. Alrighty, so we're gonna go. This is the contentious map between Republicans and Democrats across the House map. So we're gonna start and we're gonna do this. All right, let's start with Alaska. Mary Petula, she's the incumbent. She won by almost 10. And in 2020, it went by 10% for the Republicans, complete opposite. So without a strong candidate, she's probably going to win re-election. I'm going to say a lean margin, probably like 3 points, 4 points. Arizona, we have the first district, David Schweikert. I personally think that here, let me add a tilt margin. I personally think that he'll win by I think he'll barely hold on by a tilt margin. I think it'll be even closer, 0.5%. It honestly could be more in a Republican year, but if the state of Arizona keeps trending to the left the way it is, I do see him barely winning. It even could flip to the Democrats. It really honestly could. It all just depends on the environment and the campaign he runs. Cisimani, he won by 1.5 last year, or 2 years ago, 2022. I think it'll be. Look, I don't think it'll be a little bit less, maybe 1.2, but I still think it's by a lean margin. He's going to do fairly well. Yeah, so Arkansas, California. So we have a few seats in California. John Duarte, he won by 0.4. He's losing probably by a lean margin in the 13th district. Don't really see much path for him. David Valadao, he'll still win around, I'm going to say a little bit less than 3. It even could be more. Mike Garcia, likely margin, great guy, great candidate in a very in a seat that in the 27th district is surrounded by blue, but he is going to do pretty well again. Ken Calvert, he'll win by a lean margin once again. He's been in since '93, which is crazy. But yeah, so let's see. Kevin McCarthy's seat, safe. Everything else, all good. So that's California for us. Colorado. So this is interesting. Lauren Boebert is switched to the 4th district in the 4th primary. So we'll see how that goes. In the state, in the 3rd district, I think it'll probably, with the new candidate, we'll still win the 3rd by a lean margin. The 8th district, that'll go for a lean margin for the Democrat. I don't really think we'll be able to flip it. Now she's an incumbent, so she's got a little bit more advantage for her in that race. Connecticut's 5th lean margin for that. It's actually an interesting race, interesting seat. Safe blue state. and a lean margin in the 5th district. So it was quite interesting. Florida, I don't think there's anything in there. Georgia, nothing special. The only thing is Bishop. It might come down to a lean if it's a decent thing for the Republican. I think that I don't remember the exact name of the Republican who's running in that district, but it could get interesting. Illinois, nothing crazy. Indiana, nothing. Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, nothing there. Actually, it could get interesting. Jared Golden, he will probably lose by a little bit less than 6 points. It'll probably be closer, like 3, maybe 2, with the stance he's taken. Maryland, interesting races going on here. We could see this get a little bit closer in Dave Wallace's race and against Dutch Ruppersberger. If he doesn't run, it could get even closer. But in Maryland 6th Congressional District, I'm going to put this as a lean margin for the Democrats. I do think they'll be able to hold on. Dan Cox will probably win the primary and do much better than David Trone than Neil Parrott did it against David Trone, but it won't be enough to overcome. So, yeah. Moving on, we have Michigan. So, state of Michigan, the 4th or the 7th district, Lisa Locken. She's not running because she's running for Senate, but I do think that it'll probably go down to a lean margin for the Democrats in that state. John James, he'll win re-election by lean margin, do a whole lot better than he did in 2022. Let's see, Minnesota. Angie Craig, she'll probably win by a likely margin again. It could go down a little bit less because of a presidential year, but it's also Minnesota, so you know how that goes. Montana, the 1st district, Ryan Zinke, he actually will probably do a little bit better. He'll probably get like 6 points. It'll probably be a likely margin for him. Nebraska, Don Bacon in the state of and in 2nd Congressional District. I'm putting this lean margin for the Democrats. Yeah, it's a tough race. It's gonna go for the Democrats. It's gonna go for the Democrats. The redistricting, Don Bacon's stances, it's just going for the Democrats. I'll have to say. New Jersey, 7th Congressional District, lean for Republicans. Lean for Republicans. All right, New Mexico. 2nd Congressional District, lean for Democrats. Once again. All right, so New York. New York. The map has been struck down. Who knows what these Democrats are going to draw up? They could completely rig the entire state and wreck our majority. Wreck it. But the old map, New York's 3rd. George Santos' old seat. Okay, that's gone. Republicans are not winning that. The 4th district, different story. We might be able to hold on to that. I think we could. I think we can. Okay? Michael Lawler's seat. Democrats are probably going to pick that off. The 17th Congressional District. I think the Democrats can pick that off. Mark, buddy, you're a tough one. I think that he holds on just over 1 point, and Brandon Williams loses by a lean. I think he loses. I think Brandon Williams it might be closer, it might be tilt, but I think he loses. Michael Lawler actually could probably lose by a lean. I could see that, but I think Brandon Williams loses. I really do. I don't really see him pulling it off. It very well could be, but given the circumstances in New York, given the maps being struck down, given it's New York, I mean, for crying out loud, it's New York. Yeah. So North Carolina, the 1st Congressional District, new map here. Yeah, I think Republicans could probably pick this off, to be quite honest. It honestly could go Democrat, but I think Republicans will pick it off, in my opinion. North Dakota, nothing, obviously. Ohio, we have interesting. So Greg Landsman, he won in in 2022. He'll probably win again. He'll probably win by a likely margin, in my opinion, actually. Marcy Kaptur, J.R. Majewski's running against her again. He'll probably win the nomination, Republican nomination. So yeah, I think he'll probably do decent again, lean margin. Emily Sykes. Oh man, the 13th district. Republicans, we thought the Republicans could pick it off last year. We had Gassiota Gilbert, that great moderate Democrat who won phenomenal. Yeah, how'd that turn out? Yeah, it didn't turn out too well. All I can say is establishment picks do not always turn out good. But the 13th district, oh man. I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to do it. Republicans win it. All right? Republicans pick off the 13th district. Am I crazy to say it? Am I crazy? Oh my. Republicans pick it off. Oregon, the 5th congressional district. Lori Chavez Dreamer. I don't really know much about her. I know she kind of pulled off an upset last year, 2 years ago. So, I mean, she'll probably win again. It might be a little bit less than 2.1% margin. Well, we have the majority now. All right, guys. There you go. Republicans, they hold the House. I will say it. They hold the House of Representatives. We have 5 seats. 5 seats. Pennsylvania. I always come back to Pennsylvania, and it bites me in the butt. Every time we have Pennsylvania. These 2 seats in rural or suburban western or eastern Pennsylvania. Oh, man. Matt Cartwright, man, I can't tell you how much I hate this guy. He drives me crazy. He should have lost every cycle. His margin drops and drops and drops. But on the presidential level, we can win by bigger margins than he can, and we still can't win this. It's time for him to go. He's losing. He's losing. Matt Cartwright is losing this time. Susan Wild, she's going to win again. I'm going to say it's like 1.8, 1.6% for her. But I always come back to Pennsylvania, and it's always the same crap. Always the same crap. Let's see. We have a few more seats. Texas, there's nothing crazy going on in Texas. Utah, nothing right there. Virginia, the 2nd congressional district. Jen Kiggins, she wins again. Lean margin. I think she'll win. Washington, the 3rd district. The dreaded 3rd district. We saw Joe Kent run, and she lost to Marie Perez in a cycle where Republicans were supposed to overperform in a district that is Trump plus 4. Trump plus 4, and we lost by 0.8. Crazy. Joe Kent will win. He'll win. He's going to pull it off. I'm just going to say it. So yeah. Now, what are we missing here? We have a seat here that we're missing. Iowa. Always forget about old Iowa. The 3rd district, Zach Nunn, he's going to win again. He's going to win. He'll win re-election by lean margin. All right, guys, here's the map. Here's the map, everyone. Go ahead and call me crazy. Go ahead and comment right now. Go ahead and comment. 223 Republicans, 212 Democrats. Republicans hold the House. We win the Senate. We win the presidency. We win the House. I'm just going to say it now. All right? Trump wins Iowa tonight. 52%. To all these never Trumpers, go ahead and end your campaigns now. Drop out. To all of them, drop out. It's worthless. It's pointless. How you're running, what you're running on. You want Trump again, you know it, but you just can't admit it. This isn't your time. Wait till 2028. That's all I got to say. Alrighty, guys. I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. Join me and Conservative American Predictions over there on his channel for the live of the Iowa caucus results. Anyways, guys, thank you again. Have a safe night and stay involved in politics because it comes down to our country and the decisions this country has and makes. You're the voice. You got to make your voices heard. Anyways, guys, thank you. God bless you. And God bless America.